Shalom, little friends, Talmidim of Yeshua our Mashiach. How are you? How are you doing with your study of the Torah?
Meh.
Have you advanced with your transcription of the Torah?
Meh.
Great! We are happy that you strive to learn more about the Eternal's instruction. I want to introduce you to someone very special that also studies with us, is very intelligent like you, and loves the Eternal. Can you imagine who it is? What a great surprise! Go ahead, sister. Come so that the little friends can meet you.
Meh. Meh. Meh.
She is Sharón, my younger sister, and she is always with me.
Shalom, little friends. My name is Sharón, and I am Yossi's sister. He takes care of me, he corrects me, and whenever I ask a lot of questions, he teaches me about the instruction. And we also play, we do our chores, and prepare for Shabbat and the holy convocations. I thank the Eternal for his life.
Little friends, welcome Sharón. Tell her, Hasak Hasak Sharón. Strive is Hasak in Hebrew.
Meh. Meh.
Little friends, we hope you are having a good day. For now, we will go buy some groceries. We will return soon.
See you soon, friends.
Bali, where are you? Bali, how's the decoration? La 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 la. Oh, I'm going to take a selfie so that all my followers see that my best friend is Jesus. La 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 la.
Yossi, did you see what the Apostolobo was doing? Why does he do it?
Sharón, in this month, the people that don't have the instruction of the Eternal and don't fear Him, that is, they are not in pact with Him, celebrate the so-called Day of Love and Friendship. But this is not biblical. The Apostolobo should not celebrate it if he says to be a disciple of Yeshua the Mashiach.
Meh. Meh. Meh.
But then why does he do it? And what is wrong with that celebration of love and friendship?
The Apostolobo has not wanted to leave the traditions of the world because he believes that there's nothing wrong with it. In the churches, they have taught him that they can be celebrated, but he does not want to accept that its origin and history are based on ancient gods.
Ancient gods?
Helpers, stop the music. It is time to interchange the gifts. I got the number 666. Please step up, whoever has that number. Ah, it is a sister, the warrior, the one who never misses a Sunday worship. Shalom, Yossi. How are you?
Shalom, Apostolobo. Thanks to the Eternal, we are very well. And you?
Very blessed, Yossi. I came from my congregation. Today we celebrate the day of love and friendship, so I brought you this little gift to demonstrate my friendship. Although, sometimes you are very hard on me. I want to show you my love. I love you.
Apostolobo, I didn't know you were a worshiper of ancient gods. Do you know the meaning behind what you are doing?
Hello, Sharón. What? I am not a worshiper of ancient gods. What I do is thank and serve God for the love He has shown us since the beginning by giving His only Son to cleanse our sins because Christ loves you. So I am saved, always saved. For it is written, because God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son so that everyone who believes in Him shall not die but have the eternal life. John 3:16. I even know it by memory.
Yossi, why is the Apostolobo celebrating this if he was previously with a Jew, then with Catholics?
Sharón, that is known as religious ecumenical.
Apostolobo, why are you religious economical?
Sharón, it's ecumenical, and it is a person that follows the tendency that seeks to achieve the unity of Christians. That is, the unity of the different religions.
What are you saying, Yossi? I just want all of us to be united in peace and love.
Sharón, you are right. He is also religious economical for his love of money. That is to say the god Mammon. In the Bible, the word ashar in Hebrew means accumulate to get rich, and since ancient times, this was the god of materialism. Today, he is the most worshipped god among the people because they live for wealth. Nations go to war to steal from each other, and the people fight for money. This false god has lied to many people so that they live for material things with sadness and anger. Yeshua teaches that people no longer work in order to live, but instead, their whole life is work and materialism. Accumulate more and gain more. Yeshua teaches that as serving or dedicating oneself to the God of wealth.
Apostolobo, do you know what love is?
Of course! It is saying nice things to people that you love. Feeling nice, feeling emotions, giving gifts on Valentine's Day.
No, Apostolobo, you are worshipping ancient gods and imitating the customs of the nations. Do you not remember what Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says? Do not imitate the behaviors or customs of the world, but instead let Elohim transform you into new people by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know Elohim's will for you, which is good, pleasing, and perfect.
Sharón, we will explain a bit more about the historical origin of this pagan holiday, because, as Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." And many people who claim to be believers ignore the pagan origin of all the festivities of this world and celebrate them because for them they are good.
Yes, Yossi, like the prophet Isaiah in chapter 5, verse 20 says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil." I want to learn so that I don't offend the Eternal.
Little friends, let's pay close attention and learn together.
Let's learn about where the name of this pagan holiday comes from. This celebration dates back to the pagan festivities of ancient Rome during the month of February. On the 15th of February, they will celebrate Lupercalia, whose name supposedly derives from lupus, female wolf, an animal that represents the fallen Luperco, and the romanization of the Greek god Pan.
This pagan celebration was held on a hill called Palatine, specifically in a cave called Ruminal in honor of the Ruminals and Romanas, a place where, according to legend, the found leprechaun talking from of a female wolf or luperca fed the brothers to save their lives. In that place, priests or luperca, friends of the wolf, were chosen manually among the youth of the city to play the role of hunters. Within that celebration, several abomination acts before the Eternal were made.
For the religious, every 14th of February, the patron of lovers, Saint Valentine, is remembered. According to tradition, during the persecution of the Christians in the first centuries, it is said that Saint Valentine put his life at risk to unite couples in marriage. It is for this reason that this Mr. Valentine is related to the love between a couple.
History places Saint Valentine in Rome in 3rd century after Messiah, where Emperor Claudius II forbade marriage to young professional soldiers, stating the incompatibility of love with the profession and because he believed that without having family they were better soldiers.
Other versions state that Saint Valentine was captured and fell in love with the daughter of his prison guard. To whom he decided a love letter which he signed as "From your Valentine." This is where the tradition of sending letters and postcards of love originated from.
It is commented that it was Pope Gelasius I who formalized the cult of Saint Valentine in an attempt to Christianize the ancient pagan celebration of the Lupercalia, which took place mid-February. This way, the Catholic Church took the tradition of Saint Valentine as the Day of the Enamored.
Due to the different versions of Saint Valentine, the truthfulness of the historical acts of Saint Valentine, or doped Pope Gelasius I will affirm that he was one of those saints whose name will be venerated, but those acts only God knows. It is believed that during the Middle Ages, romantic love was associated with the heroic and mythological figure of Saint Valentine. This finally defining the legend of this mythological figure of the patron of the enamored. This fable kept growing and getting adorning with the passing of the centuries up to our current time.
But this celebration was eliminated from the Catholic ecclesiastic calendar in the year 1969, even though it was the same Catholics who first had imposed it. They eliminated all the saint with a legendary origin. And because Saint Valentine was considered a legend, a fable, he wasn't completely credible.
It was during the 19th century when, in the English-speaking countries, the tradition of the interchanging postcards with loving messages on the Day of the Enamored began. Afterwards, the act of giving gifts to their partners, like roses, marshmallows, and jewelry, followed the tradition of the postcard.
In the 20th century, commerce and publicity took the figure of Saint Valentine, making it popular over those who were touched by Cupid's arrows, and they took advantage to convert celebration as a day to increase their sales.
On present day, we can find these symbols and elements associated to Saint Valentine's Day, or what represents it. Flowers, chocolate, hearts, cupids, color red, cards, letters, candies, stuffed animals, balloons. The majority of these elements are brought to demonstrate their love between couples.
Legend says that Cupid was the son of Venus and Mars, or Aphrodite and Ares in Greek, and according to Greek mythology, he received the name of Eros, god of love, and is characterized by his arrows. With the passing of time, he was named Cupid, and is one of the symbols of Valentine's Day, represented by a child with wings and armed with a bow and arrows.
The geometric shape of the heart has been used to represent a vital organ of the human body, our heart, but it has nothing to do with our heart. According to some historians, the symbol of the heart dates around the 60th century before Mashiach. It was used to represent the Sylphian plant. It is also said that the shape was created from the representation of some leaves that had the shape of a heart, and they were utilized to represent in religious illustration the love between God and humanity.
On the other hand, the ancient Egyptians' medicals came to the conclusion that it was in the heart where emotions would originate and rise, given that when one gets scared or excited, the heart begins to beat. Centuries later, the Greeks conserved the belief that the origin of the heart was the center of emotions.
In the Middle Ages, the symbol began to be associated with love, and with the passing of time, the heart was also associated with Jesus and his infinite and eternal love. This symbol is used to represent one of the most experimented emotions by mankind.
The color red symbolizes love, and therefore is the color by excellence of Saint Valentine. It is the color of the heart and of the emotions. That is why it is associated with Saint Valentine's Day in the cultures all around the world. In the end, all of this pagan origin and a grand fable mythology and legends of idolatry.
Do you realize, Apostolobo? You are rendering a cult to pagan gods. That is idolatry and abomination. And without understanding, you confuse it as love.
That's right, Sharón. That's why I cannot receive the Apostolobo's gift, because I do not celebrate this day, since it is a pagan celebration.
Yossi, you're going to break my little heart. You are lacking love and mercy. I'm going to pray for you.
The prophet Jeremiah on chapter 17 verse 9 says, "The heart is deceitful above all things, and incurable. Who can know it?"
Yossi, can you explain to me what the Torah says about love?
Little friends, let's see what the Torah tells us about the Eternal's true love.
Love is a topic that has been especially confused by the Lutheran doctrine with their ideas of grace is everything and God is love. From here, doctrines, teachings, devotionals, preachings, seminars, theses, and more were formed, and is distorted from its original meaning.
The religion talks about the fruits of the Spirit mentioned in Galatians chapter 5 verses 22 to 23. And they use this text as a flag to highlight love, so they can live their lives without being judged as setting aside and forgetting the Torah's instruction.
And they back up that the love, agape, eros, and philos exists like the philosophers say based on feelings and emotions. But the word love does not exist in Hebrew. We read the word love in different versions of the Bible because theologians place the love of and omit its original meaning, which is because of, for reason of, or by consideration.
In the Bible, there are different expressions in Hebrew for the word love in specific circumstances, but we will only see two of them. The word ahava means brotherhood. For example, in Psalms chapter 133, verse 1 it says, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity." This is referring to the children of mom and dad, who are your brothers and sisters, but it also refers to your friends, brothers and sisters of the same faith. That is why, when you reunite with them, take advantage of their friendship that edifies your life and learn about the instruction together.
The word mans means for consideration, man. To take something in consideration, it is not unlimited love. Consideration is given as justification. For example, if a child disobeys at the end of the day, but for the majority of it, they were well behaved. Their parents will not ground them in consideration of their well behavior throughout the most part of their day.
Therefore, the philosophical definition has nothing to do with the original meaning at the light of the Torah. The philosophical definition is based on sentiments and emotions, but the original meaning is based on actions and obedience.
In the beginning, Reshit, the Creator considered Adam and Hava. That was his intention. He considered them for his creation. He gave them instruction, but they disobeyed, incited by the serpent. His first demonstration of love is to create them. He considered them and gave them life. The next demonstration of love is when he considered them by expelling them from the Eden after they disobeyed. He did not exterminate them. Instead, he gave them the opportunity to be redeemed.
The Eternal has demonstrated his consideration in many different ways throughout all of the biblical characters. The Eternal has considered many times the Tzaddikim, Sadak in Hebrew, of the people of Israel. In other words, those who were just for consideration to himself. For example, he had consideration of Abraham. He was pleased with him, and he showed him a redemptive promise. He made of him a people with hope and instruction with many promises. Here he shows his consideration.
The prophet Isaiah in chapter 48, version 11 said, for my own sake, I act, for how should I be profaned? I will not give my splendor to another.
In the Torah and in the coming of the Mashiach Yeshua, based on the promise of Abraham, we are giving the greatest example we can have about love. In other words, the consideration that the Eternal has towards us. And it is not a love based on feelings and emotions. It has nothing to do with the pagan celebration of Saint Valentine, with their elements like gifts, hearts, flowers, chocolates, stuffed animals, cards, balloons, dinner, etc.
But instead, in the action he made as he sent his beloved Son Yeshua to be the perfect offering of Pesach to redeem us. In Hebrew, the word for offering is korban, and the word for beloved is dod.
Now that we know that the word love is the consideration of the Eternal towards his people, when we read the word love, we understand that the text says for consideration, of eliminating the word based on feelings and emotions. And we understand that the Eternal considers his own if they maintain themselves in obedience to his instruction.
In Deuteronomy 6, it is taught to us that loving the Eternal should be with all our heart, all our mind, and all our being. And this is a love we demonstrate when we listen and obey the commandments, statutes, and decrees of our Elohim by putting them in action. Loving the All-Powerful means obedience. Therefore, if we love him, we fear him. If we fear him, we obey.
Like it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13, The conclusion of every heard discourse is fear Elohim and keep his commandments, because this is all to man.
Answer towards the eternal as love is empathy, gratitude, and emunah. It is to obey, that is how we demonstrate that we love him. He will consider you to redeem you, and you with all your being will obey him. With empathy, that is to love the eternal.
Many religions teach that love for the Father is through a sweet love. They handle it as everything is sweetness and honey, and they express it in not judging everyone else, accept and do everything with love.
Tolerate everything what they do. Do not tell anyone their errors.
Pray for them even when the prayers are in vain. It does not matter what they did, and continue doing right. Now we need to accept them.
He forgave your sins of the future. All the time, He is good.
The philosophy of Christianity says, love God, your neighbor, and that is all. But they omit the principal commandments.
But let us remember, love is to obey the eternal, do what is correct and good before his eyes. It does not have anything to do with a love based on temporary emotions, filled with hypocrisy, envy, and personal purposes.
The religion expresses the love of the eternal as an unconditional love, where nothing is expected of us, except only accepting what the religion teaches. But the scriptures teach us that in reality, the love towards the eternal goes even farther than just some simple words.
In 1 of John chapter 5 verse 3 it says, because this is the love of the eternal, so that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not a heavy load.
What a great explanation!
Sharón, we are blessed to be considered in the plan of the eternal.
What great joy! Because the love of the world is only an emotion, but the love that the scripture talks to us about is a love based on actions. Deuteronomy chapter 6 from verse 4 to 5 says, Listen, O Israel, the eternal our Elohim. The eternal is only one. You shall love the eternal your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your strength.
Apostolobo, do you realize what the real way to love the eternal is?
Obey? Oof, wow. It is really hard. It is impossible. It is much easier to live by emotions. It is far more exciting to celebrate this day with gifts, hearts, hugs, songs that make us feel the love of God in the church.
In 2 of Timothy chapter 2 verse 22 it says, Flee from the juvenile passions. Follow in pursuit of justice, the faith, the love and the peace, with those that with a pure heart seek Elohim.
Yossi, how do we obey the Father?
Sharón, it's simple. Let us think of some examples. Yeshua said in John chapter 14 verse 21, He who has my commandments and obeys them, he is the one that loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by the Father, and I will love him, and I will manifest myself to him. We obey the Father when we place him as our priority in our life. Once we know that he is the truth, the only Elohim. Now you, Sharón.
We obey when we do our best to know the Eternal and when we study His Torah.
Very good. And once we study and learn about the instruction, we walk in obedience to his commandments. Just how it says in James chapter 1, verse 22. Be doers of the word, and not only listeners, lying to yourself.
Also, when we have a blameless conduct with everyone else, we are upright and practice justice.
How wise, Sharón! We also obey when we are understanding and wise for the good.
Yes, not being false, but instead being transparent. In other words, what you say, you do.
And when we fail, we recognize our errors. We accept them and make the teshuvah. We assume the consequences of them.
And when we speak with the truth, Yossi, exposing what the Eternal does not like so that others can return from their evil path that only leads them to doom.
You are right, Sharón. Someone who has been transformed by the Ruach of the Eternal does not let themselves get taken away by their emotions. They have control over them. They can have control over their feelings and thoughts, from their head to their toes. Speaking with truth and expressing themselves in a righteous way and with self-control.
Yossi, how do we demonstrate love to our neighbor?
Let's give some examples of what we do daily. We demonstrate love to our parents when they ask us to do our chores, and we obey with happiness. But also, we demonstrate our love and gratitude when they give us wise advice and a punishment on a day when we don't behave too well, and we accept it in order to correct our behavior. We demonstrate love to our neighbor when we respect their belongings, and if by accident we damage their belongings, we restore them. We don't wish them any harm. We don't covet what they have, and if they need help, we help them. And we demonstrate love to the Eternal when...
Oh, I know when, Yossi.
Okay, Sharón, tell me.
When we obey the Torah and Mashiach, and we consecrate ourselves to the Eternal.
Meh! Meh!
Yossi, but there are days where we go through difficult moments. On those days, does the Eternal hide His love?
No, Sharón. Even when it seems like that to the eyes of humans, each moment we live is guided by the Eternal if we live in obedience. And even when there are difficult days, we should trust in His will, as we remember what it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Now we know that all things work together for those who love Elohim, who are called according to His purpose. In other words, He is with us and will help us in those difficult days. That is why there are only a couple of days of test. And with His great love, He gives us a solution to continue firm on His path.
Yossi, enough! You don't have the ahava of Avinu. God knows my heart. I try to be good with you. I don't judge you for the way of teaching the Bible. Well, I appreciate you. You are my friend. You always talk to me about the eternal. But I cannot stop celebrating this day. How would I take away this custom from my church? They could leave from my cover. I will be left without a church, without thighs. I can't. I will be left ashamed. They will publish me on social media. My fans, they will stop loving me. Oh no!
Be calm, Apostolobo. Do not fear mankind. Obey the Eternal. In Luke chapter 6 verse 45 it says, "The good man from the good treasure of his heart takes out the good, and the evil man from the evil treasure of his heart takes out the evil, because from the abundance of the heart speaks their mouth." Apostolobo, this celebration is not biblical. It does not exalt the Eternal, nor does it build our life in the true service to Him. We can't mix the biblical faith with the pagan traditions and think that it's good. The Day of Love and Friendship, or St. Valentine's Day, is not one of the festivities that the Eternal established in Leviticus 23. Therefore, we should not add it as a festivity. In Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2 says, "You must not add to the word that I am commanding you, or take away from it, in order to keep the commandments of Adonai, your Elohim, that I am commanding you."
Help me!
Sharón, remember, we shall not imitate the Apostolobo in his stubbornness. He is like a cloud that is taken away from one way to another, and does not want to hold on to the Torah nor Yeshua.
That is right, Yossi. We should keep our eyes fixed firmly on obedience and consecration, to serve on the days designated by the Eternal.
Exactly, Sharón. Each Shabbat to cease, and on each renewal of the lesser light, the moon, we should be alert so that we could keep count of the biblical months, and that way we will be alert and ready for the holy dates and convocations, so that we can consecrate ourselves and serve with happiness. Little friends, you who are Talmidim, or disciples of our Mashiach Yeshua, do not imitate the stubbornness of the Apostolobo, because he is not obedient, and his conduct is reprehensible before the Eternal.
Little friends, we should instead imitate Yeshua so that we can continue to grow fully, like it says in Luke chapter 2, verse 52. And Yeshua kept growing in wisdom and stature, and in favor with Elohim and man. Let us pay close attention to everything that Yossi teaches us with a lot of patience and honesty.
The Day of Love and Friendship does not speak about the true love of the Eternal.
It is a celebration of pagan origin, and it is not biblical.
To love the Eternal is to obey His instructions.
Let us not mix the holy with the profane.
Say no to the emotional philosophies.
The ways of love of the Eternal are part of a plan of redemption.
Let us love the Eternal
With
all our
being.
Let's sing, let's sing, let's sing to Adonai. Come to serve, let's to serve, eternal Elohim. In His Torah to walk and never depart. To learn since a child and never to lose. Let's to sing, let's to sing, let's to sing to Adonai. Come to serve, let's to serve, eternal Elohim. In His Torah to walk and never depart. To learn since a child and never to lose my faith. Cause the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is. Cause the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is. Cause the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is.
Let's see. What what celebration comes next? It's a very fun celebration that all the children loves. The Bible tells me so.